The Pulver report just after 9:30 opening bell. It's the 18th of August, and we're live. Let's jump into the risk disclaimer. We know there's risk in trading. Please don't always use trade capital only. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Whether you're trading stocks, options, futures, forex, cryptos, you know the deal. Social media, make sure it's me, youtube.com/Chris Pulver, Mondays and Fridays for the Pulver Report, verified Twitter account. You can also join my Discord channel. I'll post that in the YouTube sessions here in the chat in just a moment. And let me get into the. Hey, that's me. Just got out of some basketball, so I look great. Anyway, let's jump into it. So this morning, I was just kind of scrambling to jump into the live market. I have a 434 call running right now for my Delta trader. I didn't post that alert because I was just putting the trade on, but it is trading at right now $1.45. I got filled for about $1.25. Let me get this posted right here. Delta trader, SPY, big gap lower. If you can see my screen right here, I'm just going to post this for the alerts. I did an 8, 18, 434 long call 4. I got filled at, let me check my fill here. I got filled at $1.26. 26, and I'm targeting 435 gamma and gap fill on SPY. So let's see if we can push up a little bit higher, 435 to 435.70. See if we can fill the gap a little bit. Right now I'm up a few bucks on this one. See if we can just push a little bit higher towards 435. That should give me another 60 cents of movement, another probably 30 to 40 cents of credit on this one, which I'd be pretty happy with overall. So I think I'm going to look at protecting. We've got the big level at 433. Yesterday was a surprisingly large sell-off. I could see the market coming back with a bit of a vicious and relentless move today. So it's pretty big, right? I mean, this is SPX on the screen. Am I showing my screen? Should be, right? Let me double check my streaming software. Yep, showing the screen. And I'll log into YouTube, say hi to everybody. So pretty obvious gap. I'm gonna look and see if we can come back and fill that today with a green candle. Going into my shorter time frame workspaces. Load on my intraday stuff here. And the SPY for intraday. Nope, don't cancel that. Just load it up. Load the SPY intraday. And let's go to the higher time frames on these. So I should have a yellow box on the SPY. This was my 23 to 38% fib zone. And we are currently pushing, nicely up. So I'm looking at protecting some profit. Let's push a little bit more, see if we can fill this gap a little bit. I'm probably going to start trapping some profit here shortly. If I hit that 435 level, just a little bit higher there, SPY. And then go down to the 5 or 15-minute chart, fill the gap. So for the low today around 433, we fill the gap around 435 or 436. I'd be pretty happy with that overall. And I'm just going to keep an eye on the live price. Right now, my $1.26 debit's trading for about $1.61. See if I can push that up to maybe $1.70, $1.75 or so. So $1.67, $1.68. Push a little bit more for me.
Order cancelled.
Let's see. Just a little bit more. Okay. So couple bullish candles. See if we can just get a gap fill for the morning. And let's go back to the higher time frame. I'll log into YouTube and say good morning to everybody.
We are the Skaggs family, Matthew and Cozy.
All right. Nice to see some names. Morning, Ranjit. Morning, Chris. Morning, David. Linda, good morning. Andrew, Gary, Dennis, Donna, Ann, Gail, Don, Bill, what's happening, man? FK, good morning. Nice to see everybody. All right. Good morning, traders. Happy Friday. Discord channel. Let me post that here in just a moment. Let me see if I pulled that up this morning. I did. It is right here. Free group chat with no expiration. Copy that link. There's the Discord channel. All right, we're live on YouTube. Good stuff. Okay, just watching the broker platform. See if we can hit the. I'm going to set a chart alarm at 4:35. 4:35. And then a gap fill would be yesterday's close was around 4:36. We had a previous low around 4:35.70. So I'm going to put a chart alarm there at 4:35.70. See if we can get a gap fill. All right, so I'll keep an eye on that this morning. And we do have, I had some chart alarms going off on some crypto overnight. Bitcoin finally made a decisive drop to the downside. This is what we were watching. This is that potential vulnerable move. Let me put this back on the shorter time frame. Go to my larger chart with all the analysis on Bitcoin. So this is the trend line that I was watching on the daily time frame. This is kind of a make or break zone for Bitcoin right now. If we take out this low at 25,000, we're probably coming right back to 20K. So this is a super important level to hold. It is dropping kind of with a big inefficiency and a big pocket. But that being said, there are also, this is some inefficiency on the rally. So is this, and so is this. So if we're just simply coming back to fill some of that stuff, it's not a huge surprise. So inefficient, inefficient, inefficient. And finally, after all of this really slow movement, we finally had a break to the downside. So let's see if this is sustainable. If this breaks and flags, then I'd say look out below. My next level is probably just going to be I'll scoop up a little bit more Bitcoin at 20K or 21K. Otherwise, just trying to hold and be patient. I'm not selling Bitcoin. I'm just going to hang out. But our trend right now is in jeopardy, right? Lows, lows, lows. If that gets taken out, that is in jeopardy, like I said. So chart alarms are set to the upside. I'll keep an eye on that this morning. See if we can push up and fill that gap a little bit. 435.60, 435 and change. Come on, gap fill. Let's have some fun this morning. All right. Okay, Will, sorry, man. I know. There it is. Okay, so Bitcoin, pretty big break overnight. Let me see if there's some pressing news on Bitcoin. SpaceX bold move. Why? SpaceX, huh? So is that what's going on? We've got some companies. I wonder if old Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy is selling some Bitcoin. $1.65. Come on, green candle. Sorry, I'm just watching short-term SPY. It's up to $1.61 and change. Give me something green. Get up there. Let's go to dollar index. Take a look at the currency strength chart overnight. Dollar still maintaining some bids. It's not usually the case that I see that the DXY and the US dollar index are two very different charts analysis-wise. But what I concluded this week was we have a bit of a wedge here on the dollar. Look, this wedge could still be range bound, right? We could still have this on the dollar, which makes me a little concerning that, if we start to break to the upside, that dollar index equals lower stocks. So, and again, maybe that's the case, but you look at the dollar index, so the FXCM tool, here we are just horizontal. So I guess in both scenarios, it would make sense that perhaps we're hitting some resistance on the dollar crosses and we're looking for a sell-off. So I could see the US dollar dropping back to the midpoint. I could see the DXY. I could see the DXY falling back down into the mid, even if this is going to get narrower, something like this. If we drop back down to the midpoint or even drop back down to these lows, it really is just kind of the easiest correlation to see risk on, risk off. Risk off is dollar strength, risk on is dollar weakness. And we'll have to see what these energy plays do, what commodities are going to do. Take a look at oil. Oil's pretty resilient. I've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. I expected a pullback towards the 200 EMA around 78 bucks. We're getting that. I said between like 80 and 75. I like looking long on oil to resume this uptrend and see if oil for, maybe the rest of the year is just kind of making a sneaky run where this high has been broken, okay? These lows have, I guess we could hold a range here on oil as well, right? But I think that if we hold the 200 EMA, we head back up towards 90 to 95. We hold $75, we head back to 90.95. That's my target. I think that, run on oil, weaker dollar, bigger lift in the commodity space would be good. If we look at the commodity index, there's a couple of them here. Commodity Index Tracking Fund. I know there's a Bloomberg Commodity Index as well. Let's see here. Commodity, NASDAQ, commodity wheat. I'll just go commodity. This one's pretty broad-based. DBC. DBC's been up with that lift in oil, and we've had a pullback. So for the most part, commodities are up. Some material plays that I'm watching. Alcoa has had a pretty bad week. Pretty rough week. I did a butterfly looking for this indecision, and it broke out, so that's trash. I lost $1.15 on that one. No big deal. FCX, we got assigned. We took a very small loss on that for like 20 cents. We've got some levels much lower in the low 30s. We'll look at picking up some more. We had some big news last week and this week on X. X is hanging in there at $30.84. CLF is steel, has given back some, but X is still hanging in there. So we'll keep a close eye on this one. If we get a gap fill on X, I might be starting to venture in and say, okay, we got some exposure on CLF. Maybe we can add in some more credit spreads on X. We're trading right back in the middle of this broadening pattern. So the reason I'm watching this closely is if we clear this level, then X has room towards 50 bucks. If we don't clear this level, then it's more chop, more consolidation. I like this $21 level. I certainly like this $15 level, and we'll see how this plays out. Okay, now I'm up to $1.70. I think I'm going to take some profit on my. Let me see if I can get a buck. It's down to 65 already. Come on, push up there a little bit more. Come on, $1.70. I'm going after it right now. $1.71.
Order partially filled.
Getting filled at $1.72.
Order filled.
Perfect. All right. I'm out on a short-term call option here. Update. SPY. 818. 434. Long call. Closing for $1.72 credit. Original debit was $1.26. That is net, what is that, 46 cents? Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on that this morning. If I get a pullback, I'll still look for the gap fill today. But that was a nice little play this morning that made up for, I essentially broke even yesterday. Well, I had a hedge yesterday. Let me show if I have that alert. So if you can see my alerts here, it was a super active day yesterday. And I do want to ask, if I had anybody in my Delta Trader class, of course, now it pushes a little bit higher. Look for the gap fill. Now it's up $1.85. That would have been an extra 15, 20 cents. Yep, just stay in the trade, stupid. Okay, so I'd be out. now trading for $1.95. $1.90 plus. I'd be happy to close here. Okay, so just a quick grab this morning on that initial gap fill. So yesterday, I was wanting to see if anybody just played with the stop loss yesterday, because we had a trade that was kind of a slow start to the day. We kept tagging the 440 level on the SPY, and I had probably 15 to 20 alerts, like just tag 440, 440. And I was like, well, it looks like 440 is going to be the play. And then we just had a big breakdown from like where was the move yesterday? So here, so everything was sideways, right? This is that 440 level I was talking about. So it was just we had a gap, we filled the gap, 440, 440, 440, 440, 440, and then late in the day around 2 p.m. just boom, all the way down. So we did have a trade. We did a 441 call, and obviously didn't have any traction there. So we did a 439 put. And the way I traded this is if I have a 3x return, I can lose one and win one and still essentially walk away with a full profit on one of the trades. But it didn't just go, so I got limited out at 3x, which I'm happy with. It was a 3x return. But a stop loss would have just been fantastic. And that's what I was tracking here in my alert service is just, I got limited out at $2. And I think it was filled at 201 with a little slip. So 201. And then all of a sudden, just let it go. Move the stop loss. Move it to break even or better. 240, 250, 265, 280. Okay? And it just kept running. So, I mean, for a fill at, what did we get filled at? 70 cents? For a fill at 70 cents that traded upwards of $3, I mean, that's a 4x return. So, even if it was a hedge play, we had some really good directional flow yesterday, and it turned out to be a great trade. So, lesson there. I mean, we have class today at 2 p.m. for Delta Trader. And we'll talk about it. I just think there's a couple ways we can manage. I was happy getting limited out at my 3x, making money on the day, coming back in this morning, grabbing a few bucks today. Happy, no big deal. And I'll get that track. So for the week, it's been a pretty solid week. Had some credit on some butterflies, had some credit on some directional plays, had some credit on hedges. So all in all, no complaints. And then also collected some money on some covered calls, put on some other covered calls that probably won't get called away next week. So no complaints on my end. Was it Tesla? So Gary said Tesla. I saw SpaceX. I mean, I know it's still Elon Musk, but is it Tesla that's actually selling it, or is it? And I'm curious here also with MicroStrategy. What am I doing? MicroStrategy. That's Michael Saylor. He's a pretty much a Bitcoin maximalist. MSTR's MicroStrategy. 334. Pretty solid pullback on MicroStrategy. Anyway. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think the barometer is still Bitcoin. If we're breaking the structure here, we're selling, it's fine. And why? I don't know. Maybe because there's other stuff going on with SpaceX. There's other stuff going on with Tesla. Maybe holding Bitcoin and seeing less volatility on it. I know it's up a lot this year. I mean, Bitcoin is up 60 to 70%. But I also know that there was a lot of purchasing going on. Elon Musk and co. I mean, purchasing back in here, purchasing back in here. So if we're not really gaining on those type of dollar cost average moves, it makes some sense that you want some cash and liquidity. Then when you're holding hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin, it might help free up some cash. Review some currency pairs. Yep, I'll take a look. I will take a look. So let me take a look at the currency strength chart. Dollar is right in the middle. We got New Zealand dollar. We took a trade this week, so let me go to my flex room and my equities on demand room. And currency strength, we got the JPY on top. I still don't really trust a lot of the confirmation yet for the JPY, but we're watching a lot of setups closely. There's a lot of potential strength technically for the JPY. Now, I say that technically because fundamentally we haven't seen any JPY strength that's sustainable. It's pretty much just giving it all back. We're in a, somewhat of a carry trade environment, which does not favor the yen at all. And anyway, this week, some new trades for our flex room. I think we did Aussie New Zealand. We jumped in for a sell trade. I also bought Aussie dollar and bought New Zealand dollar. I'm going to check on my robots today to see how they did. Yesterday they were up, like Perfect Storm and Pockets Pattern Pro did pretty well. So keep an eye on those. But I'm watching, a couple of stop sells on the pound yen, euro yen, euro dollar hit 108.60, which is a level we want to start looking to protect some profits with potential room to run to like 107 to 107.50. So let's go over to some currencies here. So I did oil, I did dollar index. Let's go gold and silver really quickly, and then I'll flip through A to Z. I'll go a few more minutes. Obviously, I'll go until probably 10 or slightly after before going to my trading room. Gold is still down a little bit as we break through this 200 EMA. If we have a flag on gold like this, there's more downside potential and dollar index, right? And dollar index will still likely get stronger. So I think gold still has room to settle into like 1840 to 1830. Silver had a pop yesterday, but it's fading back down. Silver, if we break below $22, that does some structural damage to this bull channel. But if we can hang in here, that's going to be interesting to watch how the dollar plays out. Dollar strength again, silver will drop. We'll probably settle into like 1950, or these lows around 18. I'm still a silver buyer though. I still like silver. If I can get silver again at 1840, I can get silver again at 1450. I will be loading up on some silver even for a longer term range trade. Okay, so let's go A to Z. So anyone asking for currencies, don't worry, I'll cover all of them. All right. Aussie CAD long term, I'm holding long, just being patient. Aussie Swiss, I'm waiting for a bottom and a trend line to break. Look, August is a month that I see lots of tops and bottoms form. If you look over here, we have one monthly pivot, two monthly pivots. We have a couple of weeklies in the way as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just get a trend line break on the Aussie Swiss. This thing puts in a low, and off we go. Now, I say puts in a low. This area that I have in green between 5,500 and 5,350, that's where I'd be looking for a low to form. Now, there might be a capitulation move to get there. It might be a little bit uglier as far as drawdowns go, but I've got a pending order down here. And then, believe me, I'm waiting for some confirmation to add on the right-hand side in a big way. In a big way. So patience on something like Aussie Swiss. Okay? Patience on Aussie Swiss, but I think when we get a low, I'm going to take it all the way back up here and then look for a larger swing. All right? So I will be watching Aussie Swiss, New Zealand Swiss, CAD Swiss very carefully. Aussie yen, like I said, I don't trust a lot of the yen crosses, so I'm just waiting for better setups. Aussie New Zealand, we are short right now. Aussie dollar, we actually took some long positions on Aussie dollar. I'm looking to see if this broadening pattern. So we decided to take a buy position, and then we're going to do a buy position down here. I think this area can find us some pretty strong support, and then we pull back into this range around 66. We'll say 6650 to 6700. So I'm currently buying the Aussie dollar, going back up towards this level. CAD Swiss, similar to Aussie Swiss, just kind of waiting to see if we put in a low. If we put in a low here and then rally back up, that's a great bullish pattern to get a 5-wave move. Big profit target at 7150 to 7250. So actively looking for bullish patterns on some of those, Aussie Swiss, CAD Swiss, New Zealand Swiss, CAD Yen. Patience on this one. I'd like to see if we can sell this one around 110. Swiss Yen creeping up a little bit. Super overbought, overstretched. Best trade on Swiss Yen is just wait for the trend line break. We get a trend line break, this thing has 1,000 pips to fall. Easy. But confirmation is going to be key. So hopefully we get it and it's an easy trade. Euro Aussie, I'm waiting to sell this one, but I want to see some better confirmation on my Masterflex system and indicators. Euro CAD, no trade. Euro Swiss, we'll see if we hold these lows. Otherwise, we're looking for a double bottom around this 94.50 zone. Euro Pound, stay out of. Euro Yen, again, daily overbought conditions with divergence. We put in a stop sell, but it's down here around 155. We get on the right-hand side of the trend line. We might take a stab at this one a little bit earlier. Stop loss is important on the yen crosses. I'm not trying to fight them, but I will be watching. Okay, so right side of the trend line could be nice. Euro New Zealand. I'd like to sell the Euro New Zealand with some confirmation. I don't have it yet. So watching this structure here, watching this structure here. If we pull back into this wedge, I've got to be careful, though. This could be a falling wedge that we need to break. This is the best trade to sell right here. We've got to have confirmation to sell it. If we just start selling it early, that's okay, but I put a stop loss in to be safe because this might just get tighter. I mean, remember, it's August trading. So if this gets tighter, yes, it looks like it can break, but guess what? If it doesn't and it goes higher, you don't want to be stuck like, oh, I'll just dollar cost average in. No, don't do that because this might run up another 700 pips. All right. So I would rather be very, clean on some of these confirming trades if I'm looking for tops and bottoms to form. All right. Euro dollar, looking to see if we come back into this zone here. Something like this. If we fall back into this, 200 EMA around 108 or 107.50. Pretty indecisive right now. This looks a lot like the dollar index as well. Euro dollar index are tightly correlated. Pound crosses. Pound Aussie, same thing. We keep pushing a little bit higher. I'm looking for a sell trade, but I need to see a trend line break. We've got lots of demand that's being built up, lots of pockets of pivots that are available, but we clearly need to see something. I guess my concern here is if this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, right? I mean, wave 4 is the tough one. And I could play this, so this could be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, maybe that's wave 4, and this is still kind of pushing for a wave 5. So we're close to a round number like 2.00. I still like looking for a sell trade on the pound Aussie for at least a 1, 2, 3 correction, but look for a trend line break. Look for confirmation on Masterflex. Look for some indicators to align, because otherwise you're just guessing, right? I'm not guessing at the highs here, but we have tons of pivots, tons of pockets, tons of demand to the downside. Confirmation will be good, and I think we could have a decent pullback. Okay, so man, what a trade! It just won't stop. So I'm not forcing a sell trade. But, I mean, if you look left, there is a really strong level here between 2.00 and 2.05. I think that's a great window to start looking for confirmation to sell the pound Aussie. Pound CAD, I would stay out of this one for now. Pound Swiss, we're long around that 110.50 handle. It's doing pretty well. We're just kind of range trading this one back up to 114.50. Pound Yen, overbought conditions again, looks good on the higher time frame. We just need some more confirmation. Yen crosses technically have really good looking alignments. They really do. Okay. Problem is, I'm probably not going to take a trade right dollar cost average into yen crosses. I'm either going to be right, put a stop loss in a break even or better and hope that it pays out, or I'm going to get stopped out of break even or better. And I'm going to keep looking at trades. But I'm going to try to be pretty tight. Pound New Zealand, same thing as pound Aussie. Finally had a nice little lift off and blast off. Where are we going? Well, this gets us back to the 2020, COVID crash high. That certainly could be a spot right there. We have wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, these are looking good. 5-wave move. Once it's done, a 1, 2, 3 correction on the pound Aussie, pound New Zealand. I still do like those trades. We'll talk about those more next week in Flex. Pound dollar. We had overbought conditions. We took some sell trades on pound dollar. That one's done. New Zealand CAD, I'm still looking to build long. We put in some orders down here to buy this around 76.50 just in case. Otherwise, this is a big correction against a larger wave. So we have a big wave to the upside, all this correction to the downside. If we start putting in some lows in here, then New Zealand CAD is heading back up into the highs or into the highs. We could also pull all the way back into these lows and just have a big range. But I like buying in here. I like buying in here. I'm still going to stay long New Zealand CAD. Especially if the RBNZ remains hawkish. If the BOC is pausing, which they did, I'm going to wait. New Zealand Swiss, we're down to these crazy lows, 2020 lows. That's COVID crash lows. I just want to be patient, look for some confirmation. Guess what? If we get a bottom in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a lot of upside potential all the way back to like 6,000. So it might not seem like a lot for 800 pips, but believe me, if it's a slow volatility trade plus positive swap, I would like to take as many trades as I can going 800 pips up. So I'll be watching that. New Zealand yen, nothing. New Zealand dollar, we started to do the same thing. We started to buy this one similar to our Aussie dollar. If we have some structure like this, if we hold some levels and bounce back up to the midpoint's around 62. If we drop a little bit lower, that's fine. I'm still going to buy the New Zealand dollar down here. So dollar cost averaging, support, and then looking to see if I can trade it back to 62. We might range trade this all the way back up to the highs around 65. But Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, we're going to hold long. Dollar CAD is pushing through our pocket levels. I'm looking to sell this one between 137 and 140. We can look for some confirmation to start selling. This one's been a tough one because in the last year plus, we've only had about one trade that I've liked. We took this trade, made some profit. I didn't get filled at my tops here, so I missed that trade. I was looking to sell it again, missed this trade because it didn't come up high enough. So it's like it didn't come high enough, didn't come low enough, and I didn't take a lot of trades on dollar CAD. But if it just keeps drifting higher, that's okay. I'll look for this, and then we'll sell it. So I like this area to sell it between 38 and 1.3 at 1.40. Dollar Swiss, I'm holding long on this one pretty much for eternity until I get paid, which should be around this yearly pivot at 95, possibly this big pocket at 97, or all the way back to parity at 1.00. Dollar yen still hanging in there at 145. Another one that could roll over really nicely. Okay, Gartley Symmetry, that trade's done. That was this 1, 2, 3. That's why we were long on dollar yen. That paid out really well. Now, if we have a bear pattern emerge, there's a lot more downside potential off of this swing. So if we have, high to low, a head and shoulders, or a bear crown, dollar yen could look really good to the downside. It might be volatile, but man, we could get a lot of good legs here for some wave counts. Again, confirmation is going to be really important. All right, so that was a very accelerated version of currencies A to Z. I also want to check the dollar sing. I had a chart alarm going off. It's above 36, survey says. No. It did break the recent highs, though. So we pushed up towards 36 and change, buy to at 125. So China's still getting hit pretty hard. Let's go market watch. I'm going to see the futures dashboard really quickly. So futures in red, gold's up, silver's up, oil's up. Asia markets, how are we doing? Nikkei's down 0.55, Hang Seng down 205. Yeah, the Chinese market's just getting blasted right now. Let's take a look at that really quickly. HSI is the Hang Seng index. So I talked about this in the trading rooms this week. This is either the best looking head and shoulders pattern that you can find in a broad index, or this is going to be a double bottom. So we're either going to hold this structure in here for a right shoulder, which means, maybe as we come out of summer trading, China just starts to accommodate like crazy, starts to slash rates, starts to lift animal spirits, whatever they need to do to stimulate, and they start ripping in a big way, right? And all of a sudden the second half of the year is like China based, maybe. Because the reason I say that is because everyone is saying like, don't invest in China, don't invest in China. It's the worst. That's honestly when there's the most asymmetry to a trade. When everyone's like crapping all over it, it usually is like not the right direction. So I could see, if we hold this level, I could see China ripping very hard for the second half of this year or into early next year. Or if it just melts down, I can see this as the best opportunity going into 2024 is just buying. We'll find out. So again, maybe I'm swimming upstream here, but I still think that the narrative is really interesting. That everyone is so anti-China, everyone is so anti. I'm trying to think what else. We're so bullish energy right now. We're so bullish U.S. tech, and everyone's like hating on China. So I just think that you follow the herd, you're going to get slaughtered. Honestly, that's typically what happens. You want to make the most money, you got to go where the puck's going. You got to pull Wayne Gretzky, right? Skate where the puck is going, not where it is. Yes, and then lastly, the VIXM trade we're in. We're up to 21.17. We have an expiration today, but our VIXM we did a September one, which should be pushing a little bit higher. If I check the VIXM really quickly here, we did a September 15th $20 call, and we paid 85 cents. It's now up 40 cents. So it's up 40 cents right now, which is pretty solid. That's a good push so far. And we're going to see if we can get more out of that. We're going to see if we can turn this in like a $4 or $5 credit, which would be a $4 to $5 net profit. And then we can wash away that $1.75 that we lost on today's expiration. So hopefully we have a little bit more downside momentum. If we do, great. That VIXM is going to be a good little hedge. Okay, and then SPY trades I'm going to keep watching for the day. All right, I'm going to run over. I'm running late to Equities on Demand, but a lot of you are in the room, so let's switch over to Equities on Demand now in class. Any questions for me? Apple, yeah, what about it? Just buy it forever. Any 5, any 10. I mean, that's a great pullback on Apple. I'm happy, right? Pull back on Apple, pull back on Microsoft, pull back on Google, pull back on Amazon, pull back the Magnificent Seven. Good. Okay, look, the broader market, this is what I see. On the SPY, can we pull back? Absolutely. This is where I'm looking at the higher time frames. This yellow box I have is just trying to keep price pretty clean. This is the 23% to the 38% fib zone. All right. Where's our big level of past resistance? We have a couple of them right here. So this level on the SPY, right around, let me find that price point. This level on the SPY is 431 or so. By the way, our 435 by 430, that might be getting filled this week or next week. If we have another push lower, we might be getting filled at that 430. Well, we get filled for like $3, right? It's a $3 fill on a $5 spread. The other levels, you just look left, 420 was the big breakout. And what's interesting is if we hit 420, that is a 50% pullback from this rally, which means that it's way more neutral. I mean, if we have a bull market, we should expect a shallow pullback and another rip higher, which means this 23% to 38% is where the bulls are going to step back in. If they do not, and this thing falls to 50%, then it truly is a balanced market right now, and it is a 50-50 shot on where we go from here. I still think inherently the market's going to find a way to work bullish. I think market breadth is going to be more important than being carried by the Magnificent Seven. But I don't know. 50% pullback is a little bit more damage done because that's essentially where we started the breakout. But if we start dipping to 430 but start to show really strong signs there, that's not a surprise to see some bulls step into this yellow box. Make sense? All right, do me a favor before you go. Everyone checking this video out, watching today or watching the recording, hit the thumbs up button for me and support the channel and spread the word. If you join the Discord channel, it's in the chat. I'm going to switch gears. Equities on demand. Sorry, we're getting a late start today, but let's go. All right, thanks, everybody. Happy Friday. And I'll be back on Monday from our poll report and Equities on demand students. I'll see you in the trading rooms. Should I talk faster? Just kidding. All right, I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.